Yeah, students, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the subject of EDC again. This is the third class. We are going for electronic devices and circuits, and we are in the topic called energy bands. In last class, we have learned about atomic structure, isn't it? You can find here the structure of an atom, what we have studied in last class. This is a structure what we have learned in last class. What is this structure actually?
देखो होता अरुण आगुल
Please
मरे
unmute your voice, all of you. Is it audible, dear students?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yeah, right.
Visible, sir.
Then we'll go ahead. I told you
हेलो
in last class regarding atomic structure, where the atom is a combination of nucleus plus electrons revolving around the nucleus, and nucleus is a combination of protons plus neutrons, and that's what protons are positively charged particles. So therefore, nucleus is also a positively charged particle. And this atomic structure is similar to that of our solar system, where at center the sun is present and revolving with 9 planets around the sun, like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. So therefore, here it is exactly similar to that of our solar system. So therefore, please unmute your voice, all of you, dear students. Unmute your voice. Okay, now what I told in last class, certain definitions we have learned, like energy band we have learned. What is energy band? Energy band is a group of energies that are combined in first orbit electrons. That means if an electron is having an energy, then how many electrons are present in first orbit? 2 electrons. So 2 electrons means how much joules? For example, it is if any electron is carried by 1 joule of energy, so therefore it is carried by 2 joules. Likewise, in second orbit, we have 8 electrons, we have 8 joules. So likewise, it's nothing but the band of energies which are present in the orbits, respective orbits. So therefore, it is called as energy band. So if you combine all energies of first orbit electrons, it is called first energy band. If you combine all energies of second orbit, it is called second energy band. If you combine with all energies of third orbit, it is called third energy band. Now you can see this figure here. You can see this figure. The first band. See the figure here. See the figure. This figure. The first band is having a very little energy, which is of 2 joules. So therefore, it is present. I am drawing a graph between x-axis and y-axis, where x-axis I am taking edge of the nucleus, and y-axis I am taking the energy. So this is the y-axis what I am taking energy, and this is the x-axis what I am taking edge of the nucleus. So if you consider complete x-axis as edge of the nucleus, and where does the first energy band lies? What is that first energy band? It is nothing but energy possessed by the first orbit electrons. So it is approximately equal to how many joules? It is equal to 2 joules. So therefore, it is present above the edge of the nucleus. So you can see in the figure here, it is approximately equal to 2 joules. So this line represents approximately equal to 2 joules of energy. So therefore, the first band is lying over here. And therefore, next, what is the second orbit energy band? It is contained by how many electrons? 8 electrons. So how much joules it is present energy? It is equal to 8 joules. So is it greater than first energy band or less than first energy band? It is greater than first energy band. So therefore, it is lying above this first band. You can see here, it is lying above this first band. So this is what a second band of energy, which is drawn a line here. So this is occupied by how many cells? For example, it is equal to 8 joules of energy. Similarly, third orbit energy. Now can you tell me how much of electrons, how many of electrons are present in third orbit? And for example, how much of energy it is carried by? Can anyone unmute your voice and tell me?
18
Very good. 18
18
joules,
joules.
because 18 electrons are present in third orbit. Because how can you find how many electrons is present in respective orbit with the help of a formula called 2n square, what we have learned in last
2n.
class, where n is equal to number of orbits. So now we are going for third orbit, so therefore 2 into 3 square. Third orbit means 2 into 3 square. 2 into 3 square. 2 into 3 square is equal to 18. So 18 joules of energy is present over there. So 18 joules of energy is greater than second orbit. So therefore that's what here 18 joules is present here. Likewise, if you go on going like this, what band of energy it will be appearing at last? What band of energy it will be appearing at last? Can anyone tell me?
Valency
Unmute your
band,
voice
sir.
and tell me what is that band?
Valency band.
Very good,
Valency
very
band,
good.
sir.
Very good, very good. Valence band. So suppose if I draw an atomic structure here, this is a nucleus, this is the first energy band, and this is the second energy band. Likewise, if you go, likewise, if you go here, you get a last orbit, which is called as valency orbit. Now here, if you combine all the electrons' energies here, then you get a valency band, valency energy band. So therefore you can observe in the figure here towards left side, valency band after a third band, fourth band, fifth band, sixth band, you get here a valency band. You can see here, this is the valency band from this point to this point. This is called as valency band energy level, right? After valency band energy level, can you tell me anyone what is that energy level which is present? Is there any orbit present after valency band? There is no orbit. But how does we get energy band? See, actually in last class I told you, if I give certain energy to this valency electron, this will jump from this position and enter into space, enter into atmosphere, leaving here what? Hole. Leaving here hole, and that electron will be filled by another hole which is present in the atmosphere, which is also nothing but an atomic structure here. So therefore, here this is called as actually excited electron. This is called as excited electron, and this electron represents flow of electricity. We have already seen in last class how does electricity flows and how does current flows in a semiconductor. Only the valency band electron jumping from valency orbit entering into atmosphere, that electron goes and fill into a hole. Again this electron goes, searches for a hole in the atmosphere. If it finds a hole in the atmosphere, again this electron fills over here like this, again leaving here a hole again here. Again this electron finds a hole in the atmosphere. Suppose if it is finding a hole here, again this electron jumps and fills over here and leaving here again a hole here. So therefore electron travel is like this, from that point left to right it is traveling. Similarly hole is traveling from right towards left like this. So therefore here if you combine the energies of all electrons present in the conduction band, because this is actually this electron represents in a conduction state, because it represents for flow of electricity. Flow of electricity means it is in conduction state, it is conducting electricity. So therefore if you combine energies of all these electrons, if you combine energy of this electron, combine energy of this electron, combine energy of this electron, likewise in atmosphere various electrons will be there. If you combine the energies of all those electrons, you get a band of band of energy. That band of energy is called what? That band of energy is called conduction band, because that band of energy belongs to conduction electrons. That's what it is called as conduction band. Now tell me, which energy band is greater? Valency band energy is greater, or conduction band energy is greater?
Conduction band.
Very good.
Conduction
Conduction band
band.
energy is greater. So so therefore here conduction band energy is always double greater than valency band energy. So you can see this table towards left side. Valency band is here and then conduction band is here. So always conduction band energy level is greater. I can represent this level conduction band energy as EC. E means energy, suffix C means conduction band. I can represent valency band as EV. E, capital E is energy, V is valency band. Right? Unmute your voice. Dear students, unmute your voice. Don't disturb the class. This is EV. This is EV and this is EC. Now, you can observe here, there is a gap between valency band and conduction band because they are not overlapping. There is a gap. You will be finding a gap here because this is conduction band and this is valency band. An electron is jumping from valency band and entering into conduction band so that current is flown in the device. Now here, it is traveling some distance from valency band to conduction band. See here, right? So what is this distance? What is this space which is present in between valency band and conduction band? That space is called forbidden gap. That gap is called forbidden gap. Please write it, very important point. Forbidden gap is the gap which is lying between valency band and conduction band. And if you combine energies of electrons present in forbidden gap, then you get forbidden energy band. You get here forbidden energy band. The energy present in a forbidden gap, you get forbidden energy band. Right. Now the subject goes like this. Subject goes like this. What happens if forbidden energy gap is very large? What happens if forbidden energy gap is small? What happens if there is no forbidden energy gap? So the subject goes like this. What is the subject means? Suppose forbidden energy gap. Suppose forbidden energy gap is very, very large. So I can represent forbidden energy gap as EF or EG. Forbidden energy gap as EG. So now this EG is approximately equal to 6 electron volts. That means EG means the gap between conduction band and valency band. If gap between conduction band and valency band is 6 electron volts. Now, can you tell me what is this device called? If anyone knows, please unmute your voice and tell me the answer. If EG, which is a forbidden energy gap, forbidden energy gap is approximately 6 electron volts. Is approximately 6 electron volts. That means if conduction band, see, if this is EV, valency band, and this is EC, conduction band. This is a gap of forbidden energy gap or forbidden energy band. If it is equal to 6 electron volts, then in electronics, there is no electron which will jump from valency band to conduction band if energy gap is 6 electron volts, right? So it's very difficult for an electron which is present in this one valency band in order to jump into conduction band, because it is not the minimum energy required by the electron to jump from valency band to conduction band. So there is no electron in electronics which will jump from valency band to conduction band, provided that the gap is very large. How much it is means it is approximately equal to 6 electron volts. Then those type of devices are called what? Insulators.
Insulators.
Very good. Those type of devices are called insulators. Right. What are examples of insulators? Examples of insulators are carbon, diamond. These are technical examples of insulators, carbon, diamond. What are natural examples of insulators? Natural examples of insulators. Very good. Wood. What is the other one? Wood. Still anything else? Anyone? Anyone? Can you unmute your voice and ask me?
Plastic. Rubber.
Plastic. Very good.
Rubber.
Plastic. Still, what else? Wood,
Rubber.
plastic.
Steel.
Speak loudly. Speak loudly. What is the other examples of natural examples of insulators? Wood, plastic, chalk piece,
Glass.
glass. Very good. Glass. These are all the examples of natural examples of insulators. Because if you consider wood, wood will also be would become a conductor. provided that its energy gap should not be very large. But still wood does not carry electricity means because its energy, forbidden energy gap is very large. How much it is means it is approximately equal to 6 electron volts. That's what wood, plastic, chalk piece, glass, carbon, diamond will not carry electricity because its forbidden energy gap is approximately equal to how much? 6 electron volts. Because there is no device, there is no electron in electronics which does not carry 6 electron volts, which does not carry 6 electron volts, and it is very difficult for an electron to jump from valence band to conduction band, right? So this is about insulators. Next, can please write it, all of you write all these notes. Please make a habit of writing running notes. This is the first point what I need to tell, which is the first point is called insulators. Next, let us discuss about second point. The second point is called the second point is energy gap Eg. Energy gap Eg is less than 6 electron volts, or it is approximately equal to 1 electron volt. If energy gap Eg is equal to 1 electron volt, that means if you have a conduction band energy level here, this is conduction band, and if you have a valence band energy level here, this is EV, then what is this gap? This gap is called forbidden energy gap, which is given by Eg. That Eg is equal to 1 electron volt. Now, can you tell me, is it possible for an electron which is present in valence band, does it takes that 1 electron volts, and is it possible for that electron to jump from valence band to conduction band? Yes. Yes. In electronics, it is possible. So this electron will take energy of 1 electron volt from atmosphere. It may be sunlight, or it may be if you give external energy through your hand or whatever it may be, external source, then this electron takes energy and then jumps into conduction band here. So it will jump and be placed in the conduction band, leaving here what? Hole. Leaving here hole. So therefore, if an electron jumping from valence band to conduction band, immediately what is released? Immediately what is flown? Immediately what is
Energy.
flown? Current is
Current.
flown. Current is flown
Current.
because electron is jumping from one point to another point. It is moving from one point to another point. If an electron is moving from one point to another point, immediately current is flown in the device. In the previous case, first case, no current is flown because electron does not acquire 6 electron volts. So that's what it's very difficult to jump from valence band to conduction band. That's what there is no flow of electricity in first case, which is called insulator. Now the current is flowing from electron is jumping from valence band to conduction band, provided that it is acquiring 1 electron volts. So therefore, this type of devices are called what? This type of devices are called what? Semiconductors. Semiconductors. Because why it is called semiconductor? Because unless and until we give external energy, the electron is not jumping from valence band to conduction band. So it will jump from valence band to conduction band, provided that we need to give external energy. That too, how much energy we need to give? Approximately 1 electron volts of energy we need to give. Then only electron jumps from valence band to conduction band. So therefore, those type of devices are called semiconductors. Those type of devices are called semiconductors. Now, tell me what are examples. First, tell me technical examples of semiconductors. Very important point. Technical examples of semiconductors. Anyone?
Silicon.
Diode.
PN junction.
PN junction.
Silicon.
Materials you need to tell. Materials. Name
Silicon.
of the material. Very good. Silicon. Silicon is the best example of semiconductor. Next, anyone else? Next.
Germanium.
Very good. Very good. Germanium is another semiconductor. Germanium is another semiconductor. Are they are single crystal semiconductors or compound crystal semiconductors?
Compound semiconductors.
No, they are not compound because they are single. No, silicon is single and germanium is single, isn't it? So they are called single crystal semiconductors. Now there are also compound crystal semiconductors. Can you name the compound crystal semiconductors?
Diamond.
Diamond is not a compound. Gallium.
Sir,
Ah,
lithium.
gallium arsenide phosphide.
Sodium.
Gallium arsenide phosphide is a compound crystal semiconductor. Or if you mix two single crystal semiconductors, it will form a compound crystal semiconductor. Or there are another compound crystals, gallium arsenide or gallium phosphide or gallium nitride. So these are all compound crystal semiconductors what we have in our semiconductors, right? So this is the example of single crystal and compound crystal semiconductors. Got it? Please note this point. Please note these points, very, very important points for competitive exams. Single crystal semiconductors and compound crystal semiconductors. Right? These are called as semiconductors. And all semiconductors, one important point I want to tell you here, all semiconductors possess a negative temperature coefficient. All semiconductors possess negative temperature coefficient. What is this negative temperature coefficient? What is this negative temperature coefficient? What is this negative temperature coefficient? Now see, as temperature is increased, what happens to resistance? What is actually negative temperature coefficient means? It will tell you the relation between temperature and resistance. Temperature and resistance. Temperature and resistance. Now tell me, what is the relation between temperature and resistance in negative temperature coefficient? Negative temperature coefficient means temperature increases, resistance decreases. Resistance decreases. So therefore, how resistance decreases? Because just now I told you, if any electron acquires, which is present in valence band and acquires 1 electron volts, then definitely it will jump from valence band to conduction band. Kada? So therefore, now what happens? Current is increasing or decreasing? Current is increasing or decreasing in semiconductors? Current is increasing. So therefore, if temperature increases, what is temperature? It's nothing but an energy. It's a sunlight. It is procuring or providing some energy. So electrons present in valence band acquires energy from sunlight, right, through temperature. So therefore, what happens if they acquire temperature energy in the form of sunlight? They will move from one point to another point by acquiring energy of 1 electron volts. If they move from one point to another point, what is created? Current is created. So therefore here, if I increase temperature, dear students, if I increase temperature here, what happens to current, ma? Current is increased or decreased?
It also increase.
Very good. Current also increases. If current increases, what is the relation between current and resistance?
Directly proportional.
Directly or indirectly?
Indirectly.
Indirectly, because V is equal to IR. I is equal to what? V by R. If current is increasing, what about resistance? Decreasing. Now in negative temperature coefficient, temperature is increasing here, current is increasing. But what is temperature coefficient? It is nothing but to find the relation between temperature and resistance. Now can you draw a graph between temperature and resistance here? Because here temperature is increasing, current is increasing and resistance is decreasing. Now if you draw a graph between temperature and resistance, take resistance on x-axis and take temperature on y-axis. Dear students, can you draw a graph between temperature and resistance here? How should be the graph here? Is it an increasing function or is it a decreasing function? Is it an increasing function or a decreasing function? Suppose temperature is equal to 0. If temperature is equal to 0, what is the value of resistance? Temperature 0 means what is the current flow? No, temperature is 0 means what is the current flow? Is there any current flow?
No, sir.
Temperature is 0 means what about temperature is 0 means what about energy? 0. Energy 0 means is there any current flow? Is there any electron moving from valence band to conduction band? Dear students,
No, sir.
no. If current is zero, what about resistance? If current is zero, what about resistance? Maximum or minimum?
Resistance are maximum.
Maximum. So you get resistance here, maximum value. Right. Now, temperature is increasing. I have increased a certain temperature here. What happens? What about resistance?
Resistance
Zero.
decreases.
Resistance minimum.
Sorry, take this one as resistance and this one as temperature. Temperature, resistance. Now, if temperature is zero, resistance is maximum. Temperature, I'm increasing some value. If I increase some value like 10 degrees C, if I increase some value 10 degrees C, I'm giving certain energy to electron present in valence band. So what happens to electron? It will jump from valence band to conduction band. So what happens here if it is jumping from valence band to conduction band? Current is generated. Current is generated means what about resistance? Current is increasing. What about resistance? It should be decrease. So decrease means it should come downwards or upwards?
Downwards.
Again, temperature is increasing. What about resistance? Decreases. Again, temperature is increasing. What about resistance? Decreases. Temperature is increasing. Resistance decreases. See the curve? The curve goes like this. This is the curve and relationship between temperature and resistance, which is called as negative temperature coefficient. Please draw this curve, all of you. Take on x-axis temperature and y-axis resistance. Take on x-axis temperature and y-axis resistance. If you have any type of doubt, please let me know here, because this is a very, very important concept which is called as negative temperature coefficient. Dear students, if you have any type of doubt, please unmute your voice and you can ask. This is a very important topic we are learning, which is called as negative temperature coefficient. Right. Can I go for third case? Hello? Did you learn this? Did you written all this, dear students?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yeah. Can I go for third case? What is the third case, ma? Tell me what is the third case? What is the third case?
Conductor.
Energy gap is equal to approximately equal to how much? 0 electron volts. What is the first case? What is the first case? Energy gap is approximately equal to 6 electron volts.
6 electron
What is the
volts.
second case? Energy gap is
1 electron.
approximately equal to 1 electron volts.
One
What is the third
electron.
case? Energy gap is approximately equal to 0 electron volts. Now, can you draw the figure? Energy gap is 0 electron volts. Can you show me in the video? You on your video and can you show me anyone? If energy gap is equal to 0 electron volts, how does the energy bands in between conduction band, valence band looks like? Anyone? Anyone? Can you show? Anyone is there? Anyone? Can you on your video and can you show me? I'm expecting answers from you guys. If energy gap is equal to 0 electron volts, if energy gap is equal to 0 electron volts, at least can you message me? On your video, Rakesh, on your video and tell me, show me your structure. What is the gap? Is there any gap between conduction band and valence band?
They are overlapped.
Overlapped, very good. They have overlapped, isn't it? Anyone? Anyone drawn that overlapping structure? Akshara, can you show me that overlapping of conduction band and valency band? How it is possible? Akshara, are you there? K Akshara. See, many of the students just they are getting on the device and they are leaving. It's very bad on your part. See, Akshara,
Yes, sir.
are you there? Yes. Can you show me, ma? How does
I'm
the
fine.
overlapping of conduction band, valence band is observed?
Sir.
Did you understand the concept? Akshara?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me. So previously you can see the shape of the structure here like this. If Eg is equal to 0 electron volts, now you can take from this point to this point, conduction band energy level lies. This point to this point, conduction band energy level lies. Right. Now what about valence band? If you consider from here, if you consider valence band, from this point to this point, valence band lies. This is EV. Previously it is not like this. EV is below EC in second case and first case. Now in third case they have been overlapped here. This is from this point to this point, it is called EV. From this point to this point, it is called EC. Now see, is this what this is called overlapping of energy levels of conduction band, valence band. Because why they are overlapped? Because energy gap is equal to how much? 0 electron volts. So if energy gap is equal to 0 electron volts, conduction band and valence band get overlapped. Now where are electrons actually? Electron is present here in valence band. They are also immediately present in which band? Conduction band. Because from here to here conduction band lies. From here to here valence band lies. So therefore electrons are already immediately they are present in conduction band itself. Now do this electron requires any energy? Anyone?
No, sir.
No. If any current wants to flow in this device, do they require any energy, external energy? No. Do they require any temperature? No. So just if you tap the electron, just if you give a light energy, very small energy, right? If you just tap this electron, what happens? Immediately current is flown in the device. Immediately current is flown in the device. So therefore that's what you can give here. Energy gap is approximately equal to 0 electron volts. So no energy should give to this electron. Just if you tap it, immediately electron jumps from conduction band to valence band to conduction band, because it is already present in conduction band. Why need to give energy again? Just a small light energy if you apply, then immediately current is flown in the device. Now can you tell me what are the best examples, technical examples? First tell me, what is a technical example of this one? What is this device called? First tell me, what is this device which is having a 0 electron volts? What is this device called?
Conductor.
Very good. Conductors. Conductors. Now tell me, what are technical examples of these conductors?
All
Copper.
metals.
All?
All metals.
Very good. All metals. All metals are
Iron.
examples of conductors. Tell me, what are natural examples?
Iron, sir.
Natural examples present in your nearby your houses or whatever it may be. Tell me, it is also present in your house also. Natural examples. Someone has told. What is that one, man?
Iron.
Natural example.
Iron, copper.
Very good. Iron,
Copper.
copper. Very good.
Copper.
These are all the natural examples of conductors. Now tell me, the second point, in second point semiconductors, we have learned about negative temperature coefficient. Now tell me, what is this third point, conductors? Is it a negative temperature coefficient or what it is? Is it a What is that? Anyone? Anyone tell me? Conductors are negative temperature coefficients or positive temperature coefficients? They are very, very important point. Write it, all of you. Put note.
Positive temperature.
Very good. Write it. Write note, star mark. Write it. All conductors possess positive temperature coefficient. All metal, all conductors have positive temperature coefficient. What is this positive temperature coefficient? Again, what is this temperature coefficient? I told you, temperature, it's a relation between temperature and resistance. What is temperature now? Positive temperature coefficient means, what is this positive temperature coefficient means? As temperature increases, what about resistance?
Increases.
Resistance should be increased. Resistance should be increased. And temperature is increasing, resistance is increasing. What is the shape of the structure like this? If you draw x-axis, you take temperature, and
Linear.
y-axis
line
you
or
take
linear.
resistance. What about, what is this one? Is it a decreasing function or increasing function?
Increasing function.
Increasing
function.
function.
It's an increasing function like this. It goes like this.
Straight line.
It's an increasing function, right? Okay. So
Correct.
this is about positive temperature coefficient. This is about positive temperature coefficient. Very, very important points for competitive exams like GATE. You should know all these points and examples, how the structure will be. Okay, right. Now, let us go and deeply and study what are semiconductors. Okay, you have told two best examples of semiconductors are silicon and germanium, isn't it? Now, out of silicon and germanium, which one is the best used in electronics? Can anyone tell me? Anyone?
Germanium.
Why silicon?
Silicon.
Why silicon? The next concept is why silicon.
Cheap cost.
Anyone? Can you unmute your voice and tell me why silicon is the best preferred semiconductor device in electronics?
It is a low cost.
Easily
Sorry,
available.
speak loudly, ma. Speak loudly. If anyone wants to answer, speak loudly. Unmute your voice. You can unmute your video also. You can unmute your video also and you can speak. Hello? మళ్ళీ చేస్తున్నాడు ఏమి ఎక్కడున్నావు? Yes, anyone? Why silicon is best preferred in electronics? Harshavardhan Reddy.
It is less expensive.
Less expensive, huh?
Yes, sir.
No. It is costly, no? It is costly compared to that of germanium, isn't it? Anyone?
It has four electrons in valency band.
Okay. What for if 4 electrons are present? What
It
for
may
if
acts as silicon.
Huh?
It acts as both as it conducts the electricity and insulator, sir.
It conducts electricity, no?
And also it may act in
So
some
both the
conditions it
germanium-
may act
see.
as insulators.
See, both germanium is also insulator, no? Both germanium also, it takes energy and it is acting like a conductor, isn't it? Anyone? Still anyone? You can see the structure of germanium and silicon. You can answer. Why silicon is most preferred in electronics? See what is silicon atomic number, ma? What is silicon
14.
atomic number?
14.
13.
14. You can see the
14.
structure.
14.
Screen is visible to you now. Screen. Harshvardhan, is screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, silicon atomic number is 14, isn't it? What about germanium? Germanium atomic number is 32.
33.
32. Germanium
32.
atomic number is 32. Silicon
Okay, sir.
atomic number is 14.
14.
Now, 14 means how many electrons are present in first orbit? Yesterday we have learned. How many
Two
will be
electrons.
present in first orbit? 2.
2.
How many will be present in second orbit?
8.
8.
8.
Eight.
What are remaining electrons? 4.
4.
8. 4.
Remaining electrons are present as 4 in outermost orbit, isn't it? This is outermost
Yes,
orbit,
sir.
this one, isn't it? Come to germanium. How many electrons are present in first orbit?
2.
2. How many are present in second orbit? 8.
Eight.
How many are in third orbit? Huh?
18.
18.
18.
18. Because what is the formula? 2n square, isn't it? Now, how many will be present in last orbit?
4.
4.
4. Very good.
4.
4. Here also 4. Here also 4. But how many orbits are present in germanium? Orbits. How many orbits?
4.
4 orbits. How many orbits in silicon?
3.
3.
3 orbits. Right.
3.
This is atomic number. This is atomic number, and this one is orbits of 4, 3. Okay. Now, both are called tetravalent because if outermost orbit contains 4 electrons, then those are called as tetravalent devices. Tetravalent devices. If any device is contained by or any atom is contained by 4 electrons at outermost orbit, those are called tetravalent atoms. Right, important, very, very important point. Tetravalent atoms. Now I am increasing temperature. See the concept, please, all of you. I am increasing the temperature. Which atom electron comes outside first? Whether it is electron from germanium or electron from silicon.
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 Why silicon? Because it is contained by only 3 orbits, no?
Yes, sir.
Before this temperature, I am writing attraction force. Which orbit attraction force is more attracted towards the nucleus? Whether it is germanium or whether it is silicon? Attraction force of last orbit.
Silicon.
Silicon.
Attraction force of
Silicon.
last orbit is greater or smaller silicon?
Compared
Greater.
to
Greater.
Greater, very good. Attraction
Greater.
force of last orbit is greater for silicon, and it is for lower for what? Germanium.
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 It is lower. How do you say it is lower? Because how many orbitals are present? How many orbitals here? 4. How many orbitals here?
only 3 orbitals.
So the outermost electrons are more attracted by which atom? It is silicon or germanium?
Silicon.
Silicon, definitely, exactly, silicon. Now, if you want to remove an electron present in silicon, and also if you want to remove an electron present in outermost orbit of germanium, the same, suppose I give example 1 joule of energy. If I give externally and apply 1 joule of energy to both germanium and silicon, so which electron comes outside first? Whether it is germanium electron or whether it is silicon electron?
Germanium.
Why germanium?
Germanium.
Because it is loosely attracted towards the nucleus compared to that of what?
Silicon.
Compared to that of silicon. So therefore,
Silicon.
which electron is coming outside first means germanium electron, and which electron is not coming outside? It is that of silicon. Because attraction force of silicon is greater. Attraction force of outermost orbit electrons is lower for germanium. So germanium electron comes outside first compared to that of silicon atom. So therefore, current gradually increases as temperature increase. I am applying 1 joule of energy means what? I am increasing temperature. So temperature increases. What happens? Current gradually increases. Here current is not increasing. Here current is not increasing. Right? Here current is increasing. Now, as temperature is increased in a maximum way, suppose temperature is increased in a very maximum way. Now tell me, Now tell me, which atom electrons, all electrons comes outside first? Hello?
Germanium.
Germanium atoms,
Germanium.
right? Yes, very good. Germanium atom, all electrons comes outside first. What about silicon? Only 2 electrons comes outside first. And how many electrons are present here in silicon? Still 2 electrons are present left over there, isn't it? So now
Yes, sir.
here, as temperature is increased, as temperature is increasing, germanium electrons are coming outside first. All germanium electrons are leaving, but silicon atom, only 2 electrons are leaving. For example, if I apply 20 degrees C temperature, 20 degrees C temperature, only 2 electrons has to come outside. Only 2 electrons. For 20 degrees C, only 2 electrons has to come outside. But how many are coming for germanium? It is 4 electrons. 4 electrons are coming for germanium, 2 electrons are coming from silicon. But as per natural standards, for 20 degrees C, only 2 electrons has to come outside. But here 4 electrons are coming outside. So germanium atom is said to be unstable. Germanium atom is said to be unstable, whereas silicon atom is said to be stable. Silicon atom is said to be stable because for a required temperature, only required number of electrons are coming outside for silicon. But whereas for germanium, it's not like that. For a required temperature, more electrons are coming outside first. So therefore, germanium atom is said to be unstable. Silicon atom is said to be stable. Stable, isn't it? A simple example I will tell you. Simple example. If you have a motorbike, if you have a motorbike, if you bought a motorbike, if you raise slowly, what happens? Motorbike has to move slowly, isn't it? But if you raise slowly and if motorbike moves in a very fast manner, then did you bike and did you prefer that type of bike? Isn't it?
No.
Did you prefer that type of bike? No. No, because racing, if you race slowly, motorbike is moving in a very fast manner, it is said to be unstable. It is not stable. So you will not be preferring that type of bike, isn't it? So unstable systems are not preferred in electronics and also in nature. The other example, vice versa. If you race in a very large manner your motorbike, then motorbike moves very slowly. Did you prefer that bike? Again, no.
No.
Again, no. So this is what called as unstable. That motorbike is having instability in nature. So you will not be providing or taking unstable bikes. Here germanium, for only 20 degrees C, it has to generate only 2 electrons. But germanium is generating how many electrons? 4 electrons. But silicon is generating how many electrons? Only 2 electrons. So required number of electrons are generated by only silicon, but not germanium. So that's what for every temperature, a required temperature, silicon produces a minimum number of electrons, so therefore it is said to be in stable, whereas germanium is said to be in unstable condition. So unstable systems are not preferred in electronics. Please write important point, put a star, put star mark, write note. Dear students, write note. Unstable systems are not preferred in electronics. Only stable systems are preferred in electronics. Unstable systems are not preferred in electronics, whereas stable systems are preferred in electronics. If you consider your laptop or mobile phone, inside of it we have electronic components like transistors, diodes, FETs, everything we have. So every diode, FET, everything, it is manufactured by silicon only. Silicon only. It's not germanium, because germanium is unstable. Germanium is unstable. Only silicon systems are preferred. So that's what every material in electronics is manufactured with silicon devices only. Right? Only silicon devices only. But if you consider here, if you consider deep into germanium and silicon, germanium, it is introduced in the year 1940s. 1940s, whereas silicon, it is introduced in the year 1947. But here germanium is abundantly available on Earth's surface in the form of rocks. Germanium is abundantly available, right? Germanium is abundantly available and also it is cheap, but it is unstable. it is unstable. Please write these differences. Germanium, abundantly available, cheap, but it is unstable. What about silicon? 1947. What is silicon? Silicon is in the form of water. Sand. Sand means water. It is abundantly available. Silicon is also abundantly available. Abundantly available. But is it, say, we need to purify this sand. If you want to purify this sand, it costs. If you want to purify this sand, it costs. So therefore, purification takes more cost. Purification takes more cost. And is it stable or unstable? Stable. Stable. So even though it is it takes more cost for purification, silicon devices are more preferred than germanium devices. Right? Even that's what while you are talking with your friends with a mobile phone, when it gets heated up, what happens when it gets heated up? It will not burst. It will not burst because it is made up of with what? Silicon. Because it can withstand up to higher temperatures. Silicon, it can withstand up to higher temperatures. How can it withstand up to higher temperatures? Because it is having how many orbits? Only 3 orbits. Only 3 orbits. Right? Only 3 orbits. But here, madam, ఒక 2 minutes లో క్లోజ్ చేస్తాను. 2 minutes లో. అవును. నేను ఇక్కడ క్లోజ్ చేస్తాను, మీకు వచ్చేస్తారులేండి మేడం పిల్లలు. ఓకే రైట్. Dear students, as temperature is increased, what happens? Silicon is stable. But as temperature is increased, what about germanium? What about germanium? As temperature increases, it becomes what? Unstable. That's what it is not preferred in electronics. Even you can see some mobile phones, they are bursting. They are bursting at higher temperatures. For example, China mobile phones. You might have observed China mobile phones. At higher temperatures, if you are keep on talking with your friends, at a certain temperature they will burst, because those devices are manufactured with what? Germanium. But silicon, it will not burst. Even now we are talking with our friends with Samsung mobile phones or whatever it may be, Vivo or whatever it may be. Now they are not bursting because those materials are made up of with what? Silicon. So finally, I can conclude that silicon is best preferred in electronics than that of what? Germanium. Because of all these reasons. So dear students, please follow this differences of germanium and silicon. Next class we'll go and discuss with even gallium arsenide also. These are single crystal semiconductors we are discussing. Now we can discuss with compound crystal semiconductor also. Okay. So please follow this accordingly, and we'll carry forward with compound crystal semiconductors in next class. And all of you, please join mass class.
Sir, silicon is for germanium, sir.